A long time ago, my dad told me if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. I'm so glad I listened, and I want to talk today about the options that it's given me later in life. So, a few weeks ago, I quit my really good six-figure corporate job. And the reason that I was able to do this is because of very long term thinking, planning, budgeting, saving, investing, all these things. So you got to ask yourself, am I crazy? It seems like the market's not so hot right now. Everybody says the job market's awful. So why leave? And the simplest answer that I can give you is because I could. The job was stressful, a lot of responsibility, answering the phone at all hours of the day. It just gets old. And I got to the point where I realized I just didn't need to anymore. And had I not saved and invested earlier in my life, this would have just plain and simple never been possible. You might think that you need to have a lot of money right now to be able to impact yourself in the future, and that's just not true. What you really need is long-term thinking and long-term planning, and understand that there aren't really any shortcuts. If you want to be financially secure and have options later in life, the disciplined road is the only one that's going to get you there. Like, people think that you have to have a huge amount of money to be able to invest in yourself and be able to get big results later in life. And that's just not true. Small amounts of money now and small decisions now can really set yourself up in the future so that you have these options, right? You have a bad boss that you don't care for, or maybe you're just ready for a new chapter. You'll have the ability to leave on your own terms, even if you don't have something lined up. So I'm in my 40s now, and the fact is that over time, your priorities in life, your goals, how you see yourself in the future is going to change drastically. A time in your life is going to eventually show up where you wish you had options, where you wish you would have saved for your future so that you could leave a job, so that you could explore a new opportunity, so that you could take, 3, 6, 12 months off in between jobs just to recalibrate. That's exactly what I'm doing right now. And again, had I not been investing in myself for the last 20 plus years, this would have never been possible. You might think that you don't have a lot of money to save and invest in yourself, but I am telling you, anything right now is important and worthwhile. Even small amounts early in life can change into amounts that you just don't think are possible. When you look at how compounding investments and interest work, the results over a long period of time seem too good to be true. I am living proof that it works, and that if you can invest in yourself over the long haul, you will have options that you not only want, but honestly you need. The stress level that I was able to get rid of by leaving this job is so much more valuable to me than ever being able to buy, say, like a car or a bigger house. When I was young, my 20s, I wanted a Ferrari or a Lamborghini and, a big mansion. I want all these material things. And as you get older, the job you're at or just your career in general, you're going to drift away from it. Eventually it becomes unfulfilling. I don't know how to describe it, but you feel like there's more. And if you don't have a backstop, if you don't have some savings to buy yourself a year, if you were things like that, save up and buy yourself a year's time so that you can do something that you like. Had I not had the foresight to do that, none of this would have been possible. I would have been stuck in this job where I was miserable. The days were long, the years were short, and I wanted to move on. And because I planned, it made it so much easier. The bills are still coming in. The world doesn't stop for you. And having money set aside for all of my expenses, the peace of mind that you get from this is so much more valuable than, again, being able to just go out and buy the next PlayStation or the next car, whatever it is, whatever you're into. So back to the original point, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. There are so many things in life that you need to be considering when you are younger that will impact you later. You need to be the person that your future self is going to thank you for. Because again, there's going to come a time in your life where you wish you had options, where you wish you would have saved, where you wish you would have taken care of your debt. And if you didn't do it, there's nothing you can do to rewind the clock. It's going to be twice as hard to dig yourself out of the hole with less time. It's going to take more resources, energy, and the mental anguish from being crushed by the system all the time is so unhealthy. So just a few weeks ago, between my wife and I, we consciously made the decision again for me to leave my job, and that meant about a 70% income cut. Do I look worried? We have been planning for this for so long, And now we've gotten to the point where our plan is being executed. You have to think long term, and you have to be able to delay gratification. You can't be impulsive with your money. You need to have a budget. You need to know where every dollar is going. Most importantly, you need to start setting money aside for yourself now. So the thing that you have to understand for long-term planning is you cannot save your way to retirement. You cannot save your way to a fortune. You have to invest the money. You have to set it aside, and you have to let it grow for a long time. So these cryptocurrency things that are coming out and these options trading strategies, they're like lottery tickets. And I know I'm going to catch some flack for this, and that's okay. The proof's in the pudding. What I've done has worked for 20 plus years. I really don't think that you're going to be able to invest in these strange crypto coins, these wild option strategies. Over time, you're not going to win. The simplest answer that's worked for me has been simple index investing. Buying good quality index funds or ETFs over and over and over again. Every single time I got paid, with very rare exception, every single time I got paid every 2 weeks, my wife and I put money in our accounts, Roths, 401ks, brokerage accounts, all of the common ones, over and over and over again for at least 2 decades, almost without fail. That is what it takes. And it's the time part that is what's going to make you the money, not how much money you have. The earlier in your life that you can put money into these accounts, the longer they'll have to grow. And that's the key to success. I had to learn the lesson the hard way too. I bought a couple of the crypto coins. I've tried options a little bit, earlier, stock picking. And again, guys, the fact is it doesn't work. Certainly not over time. So there are fund managers that manage ETFs and mutual funds that have billions of dollars on their shoulders. They're Ivy League educated, and they can't beat the index fund. So if people like that aren't able to, I think the lesson here is that the faster you realize that if they can't beat them, there's a very low probability that you can. The fact is, the long, steady race is the one that's going to get you the ticket to the answer that you want. An early retirement, or just having enough money in the bank to not have to constantly worry. Investing to me has always been the simple answer. Buying index funds, holding for very long periods. And the last key is don't sell them. Once you're finally retired and you're ready to use some of that, fair enough. But you need to be buying quality investments that will stand the test of time, that will build you wealth over and over and over again. The proof is out there. Actively managed funds lose to the market 85 or 90% of the time. The longer the amount of time that's measured, the fewer success stories there are. So what that tells you is again, these people are not able to beat the market. And even if they are once or twice, a broken clock is right twice a day, right, guys? Even if they are able to beat it, again, as time goes on, the likelihood of that staying consistent is lower and lower and lower. So think about what the alternative is. There really isn't one, right? When you defer action, you can't take action. You're afraid. You're afraid of losing your money. Whatever the issue is, whatever you're anxious about, you have to put that aside and you have to start. There really just is no alternative. The alternative, if you think about it, if you don't save and invest for yourself, what is it? You are going to be stuck in your job forever. When you set aside money for yourself, I think you're going to find that it's so much easier to have it set aside versus having to react when a problem shows up, when the unexpected bill comes. So an example could be our car tabs. So my vehicle renewal is about $400 a year. It's a newer car. And do you think it's easier to scramble to try to find that $400 when that shows up unexpectedly? I can't imagine too many people track when their car tabs are going to come. Is it easier to figure that out when the $400 bill shows up in the mail, or is it easier to set aside $15 every 2 weeks because at some point in the next year it's going to come? So that's what we do with our bills. We set aside money every 2 weeks, knowing that they're coming up. It helps to make life more predictable. That's where you get into trouble, right? You have a surprise and you have to make a decision that is less than ideal, but you have to because you didn't plan. With your budget and your long-term thinking, the easier life will be and the more predictable it'll be. And if you don't have a huge income, you're not bringing a ton in, all the more reason to think about your future. So if we think about another example of how something can spin out of control if you're not thinking long-term, let's say you have a decent car, it's in okay shape and it's running pretty well. You need an oil change, but you're like, oh man, I just don't have the $60 to bring it to the shop to get a quick oil change. You just keep putting it off. I'll do it next time. I'll do it next pay period. Eventually the engine starts to have issues and blow it up, right? Your $60 problem has now become a $6,000 problem. So if you didn't have $60, your problem has now 100 times itself. Now you've got a $6,000 problem. Next thing you do, you put your car repair on a credit card. Now you're paying 30% on a $6,000 loan for a car that's probably not worth it. And the 6,000 turns into 9,000 because after you pay it off, the rate's so high, it's going to take forever to pay it down. So your $60 problem has compounded over time and made your life much worse. So if you start to go through your money at the end of the month and you get serious about a budget and you realize at the end of the month that you don't have enough coming in to cover your bills, there's only two options. And that is cut expenses or find a way to earn more money. And if you can't do either of those things or you choose to ignore it, your problems are going to get worse. The interest is going to compound, your loan balance is going to go up, or you're going to send in a huge payment and it's barely going to go down because the interest is working so hard against you. You have to think about these things before they become a problem. The issue is that they progress slowly. At first, when you start to go into debt, things seem like they're going to be okay. Oh, it's only a $40 payment. And then you open another card and the minimum on that one isn't bad either. But before you know it, it snowballs out of control and you just have this huge pile of money with a huge interest burning against you over and over and over again. And it makes it more and more difficult to escape. So the best advice I can give to young people is just avoid debt at the beginning. If you're going to take on any, you need to really understand what it means, how the interest works, how detrimental is it going to be to your future self. Again, small decisions can have huge impacts later in life and you don't even realize it. So just be cautious with everything. Put yourself first. You know the decision that you need to make. You're just choosing not to. So to give you just a little more motivation here, again, I feel like the freedom that I've gotten from saving and investing in myself over the years is far more powerful than any car, mansion, any material item. The freedom to do what you want with your time is unmatched. You'll have a peace of mind when your bills hit. You're not going to have to worry. You're not going to have to scramble. General stress level for money is just, it's going to go away. And it feels great. And again, it's going to give you options later in life that you probably could only dream of. Being able to leave your job or leave a boss without a plan is a feeling that you can't get anywhere else. You have to start now. Time is the most important factor in this, okay? I promise you, the feeling of not owing anybody shit is better than anything you can buy. I appreciate your time today. I hope you found that some of this was valuable. Again, invest in yourself, and I hope to see you again.